So, hi. This is my TBR. It is 30 books. I don't know quite how it got to this. This is the situation that we're looking at right here. All of these, those in the back. This is my application for the insane asylum. And today, we're going to be unhauling them, looking through them, figuring out what they're about, and how on earth we got to this, because so hello. Today we're going through my TBR. These are all of my unread books, unfortunately. So me trying to make sure this is still So I'm gonna do a little fun transition for you, so you don't have to see me unpack all of these. So, ta-da! And now they are all right there. Good Lord. So I counted them. There's 28. There are 28 of these bad boys. And now I need to figure out where I'm going to sit. So, another fun transition. Whatever this is. Oh my gosh. That is a little nuts. And there's another stack down there. So, yeah. So, let's get started. What they're about, and who wrote them, and how I got here. Because, if I'm being honest, I meant to get through all of these, okay? But the thing that they don't tell you about being a college student is you lose all semblance of a personality, essentially. You don't really have time for hobbies like reading, you know? And I was not expecting that when I started college. You know, I had all these grand plans of like, I'm gonna read and I'm gonna have so much time for literature and being an intellectual, and I didn't at all. And as I mentioned in my last video, I actually had exams for about 3 weeks at the end of the semester, because my professors thought that ending class earlier would be fun. It wasn't. So I didn't have time to read during finals either, which means that all of these books have accumulated over the course of about 8 or 9 months. So that's what we're breaking down today. Because I feel quite bad. As a content creator, I've been hiding this in the back of my shelf, just like, I'll get to these eventually. No one can ever know that I have this many unread books. But then when I posted about it on TikTok, a lot of people actually said that they have more unread books. So that made me feel better, and a little bit scared, but also better, because apparently 28 or 30 unread books at one time is not that bad compared to everybody else. And as you know, comparison is not the thief of joy, it's the creator of joy. So I'm comparing myself to everyone else, and I look slightly better. So let's go through them all. Quick fire. So this is James by Percival Everett. It is about the slave from Huckleberry Finn. It is the story told from his perspective because he was not given a voice in the original classic book. I'm very excited to read this. I'm about 50 pages in, but I had to stop reading it because of finals. So I am hoping to finish this as one of my first reads this summer, once I finish all of my library books that have to go back, because those were first priority. So once I finish those, then I can move on to the books that I bought, which is, are these two massive stacks in front of me. So, this book. Very good. Looking forward to that. And let's get some more. Look at those. Look at those. Is that not terrifying to you? I don't. Sometimes I feel like you guys watch me and you're like, oh, she's such a great, YouTuber. Or maybe you think I suck. I don't know. But I look at me and I'm like, you have spent so much on these books. And what has it come to? Okay, what have you come to? And this is the Wednesday novelization for season 1. Very thrilled about it. I didn't even know this existed, to be honest. It wasn't publicized, but it looks like an official book. You know, it has her on the cover. And I'm looking forward to reading about all of the twists and turns of Nevermore Academy. Because season 2 is coming out in August, and it's one of my favorite shows now. I've been discovering a lot of new shows lately on Netflix that I didn't have time to watch. I'm just like a whole new person. I feel like this is my like new journey of the summer, you know, where I'm basically just discovering new facets to my personality that I didn't have the time for the last 9 months. So, Wednesday. Looking forward to that. Okay. And by the way, this is actually my second take of the video because the first one that I did, it was so sad. My microphone was dead the whole time that I filmed, except for the first 2 minutes. So I checked the first 2 minutes, and I was like, oh, great, audio works. Sent it over to my editing desk. I sit down there, and I get past that, and it's just muted. Crushing defeat. But I didn't upload on Monday because I was horribly sick. I had a fever of like 102, so I'm pretty sure my brain is scrambled from that. And I didn't want to neglect another video because I was like, you know what? The people deserve to know, okay? You are such a high profile YouTuber, you know, with 27 subscribers that you cannot miss a day, okay? People will be sad. The people will riot in the streets, okay? So you can't miss another video. So here I am, take 2, with my very embarrassing unread book collection that has accumulated through the depression and anxiety of college. So, next book, Wicked. I saw the movie a couple weeks ago, finally, because if you don't know this about me, I'm 5 years behind on about every trend. So, yeah, I have PTSD now where I'm just checking my microphone every so often to make sure that the green light is still on because I'm afraid. I'm not doing this a third time. So if you're seeing this, that means that it worked. And if you never see this, then that means that the light went off and so did my hope for the world. So, Wicked. Saw it a few weeks ago. Love it. Popular is one of my favorite songs now, and I finally get to join the bandwagon that everybody else did about 20 years ago. So, yay for me. And I haven't read the book, but I am one of those people that's like, when it's an adaptation, I feel like I need to read the book. Because every book adaptation, the movie is so different from the book in some respects that I wanted to make sure I had the full picture. Because, you know, if I'm being honest, I get frustrated at the people that have only seen the Harry Potter films. You know, I get frustrated at people that have only seen the Hunger Games films. So it's very important to read the book. So that's what I'm doing. And it has the, you know, film cover. It has Glinda and, you know, Elphaba. So it looks like the movie, very cinematic. So I'm looking forward to that. And then this is Evie Woods. You will be seeing a lot of her across my YouTube channel because she is one of my favorite genre-bending authors. She really doesn't stick to just mystery or romance or fantasy. She does a lot of different things. And that's one of my favorite things about her. And if you've seen some of my other videos, which I should hope you have because you're missing out on a lot. But The Story Collector, I loved. It caused me deep emotional pain, and it also led me to one of my favorite songs, Wash by Bon Iver, so thank you for that, Spotify. But The Story Collector was only her first book, and so then I realized she has other books, you know, as authors do sometimes. So I was like, well, I need all of them now. So this is the second one, and it's sort of mystery. It's about a disappearing and reappearing bookstore. That kind of was all I needed to buy it. And it was abandoned on an end cap in Target, and I felt sorry for it. You know, I felt like it needed a loving home where it could be with its siblings. You know, so that's that book. Looking forward to that. This one, we have some nonfiction. I try to have what I call an even sprinkle. You know, where I have some nonfiction, I have some romance, I have some fantasy, I have some, you know, commentary type books. And then I have some like historical books because I don't want to get bored. Like I don't want to just read romance this summer, or just read nonfiction. I need a balance. So we have achieved a balance. I think it might be too big of a balance though, because I'm looking at the stack right now and it's highly intimidating. So, and I already see something annoying on the next book cover that I'll tell you. So this is Dolly Alderton's book, Everything I Know About Love. And I got this also at Target. This is a reoccurring theme. I love Target. Everyone loves Target. I am but a white girl, and I cannot fight my origins. So, Target. I found this at Target, and it talks about college, university. I love any kind of British fiction, British nonfiction, stories where Britain is centered, and that's what this is. And it talks about the early 2000s and the new digital age, how fun it was during social media's early times, like on MySpace and Friendster and all of those. And I love it, and I love how colorful the cover is. And it was a New York Times bestseller, so I wanted to give it a chance. So, the next one is Jane in Love by Rachel Givney, and it's a thick sucker. Look at that. We like them thick. So that's this. And something that annoys me is, I don't know, I hope you can see this. That's an AirPod. In a major romance novel cover. It's an AirPod. And I'm not sure what they were trying to achieve, because the story isn't about music, it's about Jane Austen traveling to when her book is being adapted into a movie. So why is my guy wearing an AirPod? Come on, focus. There we go. Felt like I was doing a makeup tutorial, like, this is my bronzer, but, yeah, why is he wearing an AirPod, I wonder? I don't know, I just feel like all of, like, the scummy dudes wear AirPods. Of course, everybody wears their AirPods, but also the scummy guys. So, I don't know. I'll have to see if he's scummy. Hopefully not. But I'm very excited to read that. That's a romance book that's on the shelf. The next one is also a romance book, actually. It is You Belong With Me by Mary McFarlane. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, but also, this is my second time filming this video, so at a certain point, I don't really care if I mispronounce things. That's the beauty, because it's my channel, and I can do whatever I want with it. So, here we are. So, this actually has a funny story to it. I was in Barnes & Noble a couple months ago, and I was looking for a romance book to read. Except all the ones that I was finding had, shall we say, the stuff, the smooshies, if you will. And so I asked one of the employees, I was like, listen, I've been here like 20, 30 minutes in this section, just trying to find a couple of romance books that won't scar a 5-year-old, Do you have any spice-free authors available to me to find? And fortunately, she pointed out, and she was like, actually, we have this book. This is little to no spice, which is my jam. And so I immediately picked it up because it is called You Belong With Me, So automatically, she has great taste in titles. It's also a Taylor Swift song. And on the cover, Emily Henry, high praise, actually wrote, she writes with a singular wit, charm, and emotional complexity. Every word just right, every page brimming with delicious tension. So that immediately sounded right up my alley. And like something that I wanted to read, at night when I had my tea and I was all settled in my, cozy pajamas and my classical music going. Because at my core, I am 70 years old. I feel like I have moments where I feel 7 or 87, where I'm like, I just want to watch an animated Disney movie. Or I want to listen to classical music on the radio and have my little, cassette player out and my lemon ginger tea with my socks on, my Christmas fuzzy socks, and read a spice-free book, under my little blanket. So I'm very excited to read that book, and I can tell my voice is kind of starting to go a little bit because I am still getting over the head cold a little bit, and my voice has not regained its full strength, and this is my second take of the video. So maybe I'll be the one who's mute by the end of this and not the microphone. It's all fun and games. We'll figure it out together. So this one is actually the 5th book in the series. I have a horrible habit of doing that. Where I think it's the first book. But to be fair, they had it on the display table, which would make you think that it was the first book, and it doesn't have anything about, another book. There aren't pictures of the prequels, so how am I supposed to know that this is the fifth one? It doesn't say 5, and it doesn't have the others, but basically it's about witches and like dark academia, has something to do with birds, I think, and it's about, yes, Deborah Harkness first introduced the world to Diana Bishop, an Oxford scholar and witch, and vampire geneticist Matthew de Clermont in a discovery. Oh. I just saw it. They literally put the title, the first sentence of the back cover, A Discovery of Witches. I think that might be the first book. So. Okay, apparently it's just me. Apparently I didn't read close enough to the back that I didn't know that this was the fifth one. Oh well, it'll be like a whodunit, because I'm not caught up, so it will be a whodunit. But that's fine. All the fun of the circus. So these two I'm very excited about, actually. This is Lynn Painter's The Do-Over and Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. Very excited about these two. This one's fantasy, this one's romance. I've heard a ton of people talking about this on TikTok as sort of like cozy light fantasy. Exactly my jam. I got the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. And the pages, I don't know if you can see it, but they're actually different lengths. So it looks sort of like an old-timey diary. And it has, just the most beautiful cover. And I'm a big fan of beautiful covers. Anything that's aesthetically pleasing, I'm more likely to buy. Because, I am just Gen Z, We try our best, but we really are total victims of hyper-consumerism, which is clearly how I ended up here in the first place, okay? This is how I ended up with like 30 unread books for a summer, because I don't have portion control when it comes to books. So, The Do-Over, looking forward to this as well. Welcome to the Neighborhood. This is the next one, and this is about a single mom that ends up in a small town with gossipy trophy wives and gossipy. Did I say gossipy? I cannot hear you, so I'm going to choose to believe that you did not notice that. Gossipy trophy wives and their mean girl daughters. Well, I'm looking forward to that. This sort of feels like Gilmore Girls. Gilmore Girls-esque, and she sort of looks like Lorelai too, so this should be fun. A touching novel about discovering you're stronger than you think and fiercer than you ever dreamed. By Lisa Rowe. Yeah, I picked this up at Barnes & Noble the other day. It was sitting between two Sally Rooney books, I believe, and, Sally Rooney's amazing, but her books are about $30 a piece at Barnes & Noble, and this was much cheaper, so went with this one. Sorry, Sally Rooney. This one is Betting on You, also by Lynn Painter, part of the Holy Grail of Lynn Painter books. And this one, I believe, is actually... No, that's not. They sort of look the same, but it takes place in Omaha. Interesting setting for a book, because, my Midwest friends, if you're from the Midwest, comment below. Let me know if this book is immensely popular where you live, because everyone just feels so represented, because they're in the Midwest. So, this book is nothing like the movies, and apparently it's the sequel to Better Than the Movies, which means that I replicated my curse, and this is the second book, not the first book. I don't know how I missed it for a second time, but here we are. And also, some of these books I got from Walmart and not Target. Because the thing is, sometimes I happen to be at Target, sometimes I happen to be at Walmart. But the difference is, Target's books are about twice as expensive as the ones at Walmart. But Walmart carries generally the same content. So if you're looking for books that have all the special editions and everything, I got my Sunrise on the Reaping book, actually. The Walmart exclusive edition with a timeline of Panem from Walmart. They had a Walmart exclusive edition. So if you want books for half the price, apparently Walmart's the way to go. So, who knew? But that is nothing like the movies, and apparently it has things to do with, you know, different popular rom-coms, and you can see, you know, that's like Titanic over there, you know, Fiddler on the Roof, or Dancing in the Rain, and then, you know, Love Actually over here, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm not sure what's on the back, though. I don't know if this is the characters or another popular rom-com movie reference that I didn't catch, but, you know, we'll figure it out. And I plan on doing a review of sort of all of Lynn Painter's books that I read once I, you know, filter through the mass grave of books that has accumulated in my room. So, next two are Dickens' Fur Coat and Charlotte's Unanswered Letters and When in Rome by Sarah Adams. And this book is by Daniel Poole, and it's about Victorian authors. If you know me at all, you know I love my British literature. I love my British fiction. Okay, I love anything about famous Victorian authors that I grew up reading. So that's this book. And then this one is sort of like a light, fluffy romance. I had been reading a lot of, you know, very theme-heavy books, which are great for a time, but sometimes, especially, you know, I have the feminine urge. It's summer. I want to read a fluffy romance, okay? I don't make the rules. Lynn Painter does, clearly. And that's how I got this book. Apparently it's a series, so did not know that. And I'm really excited to find the next ones and, you know, see how the others in the series are. These two are also very thick. This one is like a corporate satire. I got it. It's about a woman that wants a corporate desk job, but it isn't what she thought it would be when she gets hired. And when I got this, it was towards the end of my freshman year, and I was feeling a bit disillusioned. You know, I feel like the job market in general is sort of imploding on itself, like, you know, like someone put a trigger inside of a hot dog. So, you know, I feel like this book I'm going to relate to on many mentally concerning levels. So, this book, There's No Such Thing as an Easy Job by Kikuko Sumura. I mispronounce that name every single time I put this in a video. So, you know, full circle moment. And the Observer said it was surreal and unsettling, and it's translated from Japanese, where it actually won Japan's most prestigious literary award. Well, congratulations. I'm really excited about this one. I like it. I like the cover. And then this one, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. This one has been recommended to me so many times I've lost count, because I'm a writer. I'm a writer, and I'm also an author. I have a book published that I was included in. It's an anthology. And my current book that I'm working on, that I'm actually almost done with, very excitingly, takes place in the 1920s. And everyone that I mentioned it to was like, oh, you need to read A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. That takes place in the 1920s, you know, around the same time, New York City. You'll get so much, you know, just knowledge and feelings. However, the minute that I hopped onto Amazon, I couldn't find it anywhere. Couldn't find it at libraries, because, you know, occasionally I do try to save $1 or $2 by going to the library, or, you know, antique stores. They have books for, you know, $3-5 a piece. But I could not find this anywhere until I found it at Barnes & Noble. Sure enough, Barnes & Noble. It was stuffed in the back of a shelf, and it was the last copy, and I found it. And I was like, oh, this is the book. This is the book that I've been waiting for so long. My mic's still on? Hey, it's still on! You might just see this video if I don't have to do this a third time. So, Tree Grows in Brooklyn. I'm looking forward to reading this one. Hopefully it inspires my writing more, and I'll let you know what I think about it. And I also talked about this book, I believe, on my TikTok and Instagram. So if you're not following me over there, you should be, because what are you doing? You know? I mean, I'm not saying that you're a depraved human, but, you know, I'm just saying, if you want behind-the-scenes content and extra reviews and stuff, I mean, it's there. The links are in my bio, and also in the description below. So, next to Picking Daisies on Sundays by Liana Cincotti and The Perfect Rom-Com by Melissa Ferguson. This is her new book that I'm very excited about. I have, I think, all of her books, and I'm a big Melissa Ferguson fan. You know, I'm a Fergonite. That's who I am. And this one is about two writers, and they're struggling writers, I believe, as, you know, aren't we all? And this one, Picking Daisies on Sundays, is childhood, you know, friends to lovers trope, which is one of my favorites. And look at how cute the cover is. I saw this on Pinterest, and I knew I had to have it because the Pinterest girlies were right. Okay, they always are. So, next to Witches Run Amok and Green Ember. These are embarrassing because I actually got this one about 5 years ago, and I never read it, or never read past maybe the first chapter. And then this one I got in August, and I planned to read it in the fall, you know, hocus pocus, autumnal vibes. I wanted to read it then. However, then I didn't because I was extremely busy. I had a student job by that point that I had taken up in the fall. And it was very busy because I was planning essentially school events. And I go to ASU, which is an extremely big school. So I was planning, you know, large events. So I didn't really have time to read, unfortunately, because I was doing so much. And that was one of my favorite student jobs. But, you know, leaving it also led me to social media, which is fun because this is one of my favorite things to do now. And I love talking to you guys. So, The Green Ember is a fantasy book about rabbits. It's sort of like Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit sort of thing. This one is the history behind Hocus Pocus and maybe some fun facts about witches that you didn't know for one of your favorite cozy 90s films. And then my last batch. Oh no. Oh, it fell over. Okay. So, these are the last ones. So, The Handmaid's Tale. I recently got into the, you know, the series. I'm going to start watching it soon, but I wanted to find the book first because, you know, as I do with Wicked, I like to know what the book is. That way I have the full-scale experience. So, The Handmaid's Tale. It's about a futuristic American reality where the Constitution gets suspended and women are basically indentured servants for providing children to rich families and politicians and so on. So, very exciting. Excited for the social commentary. This is sort of, people call it feminist literature, but I feel like sometimes books that center women at all get called feminist literature. To me, it's sort of a dystopian book with social commentary themes, sort of like The Hunger Games. I don't think it's a feminist book necessarily. I think sometimes it's just a book about humans, not necessarily a feminist book, because I feel like that sort of makes it a different category. So this one is Heartbreak is the National Anthem, and as a, you know, a seasoned Swiftie, I know the pamphlets. I've read the literature. I wanted to know if there was anything that I didn't know about Taylor Swift that I would be surprised by. You know, maybe details about the songs, about her life, things like that. And Rob Sheffield, did her Rolling Stone interviews, which she did several of, you know, over the course of her career so far. And so he got to know her very well, and he was with her for a long time to, you know, put these massive articles together. So I'm very excited to see what he said. So, and then 84 Charing Crossing Road is about a woman that it's sort of a upholstery novel, with this cute little typeset on the back. It looks like a typewriter, and it was for fans of the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. And on the back it says, 84 Charing Crossing Road will beguile you and put you in tune with mankind. And, you know, it seemed cozy. I discovered it on Jack Edwards' channel, and our tastes, you know, converged on this. So I wanted to give it a fair shake. And then these two are The Mysterious Bakery on Rue de Paris. I'm calling it Paris. By Evie Woods. This is her newest book. I believe it just came out in April, so I'm very excited to have a copy because she's getting extremely popular now. And then this one is Brain Lock, Free Yourself from Obsessive Compulsive Disorder, because your girl's got OCD, and I like to read the literature about it, so I'm not just another moron on the internet talking about, disorders and mental health. Because there are a lot of idiots on the internet, and I would like to not be one of them. So this book is going to help me with that, I think. And then this book is about, mystery, and it's about a woman named Edie Lane. Left everything behind in Ireland for her dream job at a bakery in Paris, except the bakery isn't in Paris, and neither is Edie. Intriguing and mysterious. Very excited about those. And then the last book is Last Chance Books by Kelsey Rodkey. This one was buy one, get one 50% off, and I'm scared to take the stickers off because sometimes they cover important words, and I always feel like part of the cover is going to get ripped off with it. But this book I'm very excited about. It's sort of like You've Got Mail, book lovers can be haters too, that sort of thing. And You've Got Mail is one of my favorite rom-coms of all time, so as soon as I found this on the romance shelf, I was like, I'm keeping this for myself. I will fight you for it, personally. So, and those are all the books. Somehow, we have reached the end, and I feel extremely overwhelmed, but also excited to finish up the last of my library books so I can read all of these. And this is about as many as I can get on my lap at one time without it, precariously falling over. So I guess this is the result. So wish me luck, and thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to hit the like button and subscribe, because the like button pushes the video out to more people, and I really like being able to talk to more people. And follow me, I'm on social media. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Goodreads, Lemonade, all those things. So if you want to follow me over there, I have different kinds of content on there. I have, random couple minute stuff on Lemonade. I have funny reels on Instagram, and TikTok. I do book reviews, and TikTok's a really fun community. It's one of my favorite things that I've done, actually. And I was really scared to start doing it, but it's one of my favorite things to do every day now, and it's been so welcoming. Like, people are so genuinely kind on there, and I'm like, wow, this is not the wasteland that I pictured, or at least not my particular corner of it. I'm sure other bits are, but thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. So